The galaxy had always whispered stories of the Zilari, a race so advanced that even the smallest of their warships could annihilate entire planets in moments. They were a mystery, feared by civilizations across star systems, and now they were gone. Vanished. Only remnants remained, scattered across the stars like forgotten pieces of a puzzle. Humanity, still young and fragile in comparison, scoured these ruins with a mix of curiosity and caution, hoping to learn, to survive, and perhaps to grow stronger. On the cold, barren planet of Veros 9, a team of human explorers moved cautiously over the cracked and dusty surface. Commander Elena Reyes led them, her eyes sharp and calculating. In the distance, half buried under layers of ash and stone, they saw it. A massive warship, broken and scarred, yet still radiating a strange power. Its hull was jagged, torn in places as if some immense battle had shredded it to pieces. The edges glinted faintly under the planet's dim sun, almost like a wounded creature's eye catching light. Elena's heart skipped. "Is that real?" she whispered, stepping closer. Around her, the crew paused, hesitant. The ship was enormous, far larger than anything humans had built, and the design was alien in ways that made their minds strain to comprehend. It was beautiful in a terrifying way. Sleek curves cut with jagged armor and strange glyphs ran along the hull, glowing faintly as if the ship still remembered its makers. Engineer Malik approached carefully, scanning the surface with his instruments. "It's dormant," he said, voice low. "But the core, there might still be energy left. If we can get it working." He trailed off, unable to finish the sentence. Even he, the most analytical mind on the team, felt a mix of awe and fear. Elena placed her hand on the cold metal. She felt a vibration under her palm, almost like the ship was alive, breathing slowly after centuries of silence. "If we can repair it, if we can wake it," she whispered, her voice trembling, "we could change everything." The crew exchanged nervous glances. They all knew the truth. This was not just a discovery. It was a risk. The Zilari had left this ship behind for a reason. It was broken, yes, but even broken, it held a power no human had ever seen. To touch it, to awaken it, was to reach into something beyond their understanding. And yet hope glimmered like a fragile star. Humanity had always been underestimated, outnumbered, outgunned, mocked for their fragility. But cunning, adaptable, and relentless, they began the work to transport the wreck. It took hours, careful planning, and a mix of brute strength and delicate technology. When the ship finally hovered above the planet's surface, secured by massive human tethers, it looked almost like a giant sleeping above them, wounded but not defeated. Days turned into nights and nights into weeks, as engineers and scientists examined every broken circuit, every fractured hull plate. They moved cautiously, like surgeons tending to a patient who could kill them with a single misstep. Slowly, systems sparked with faint light. A panel here, a connector there, and the ship hummed softly, an almost imperceptible heartbeat echoing through the hangar. Late one night, Elena walked the length of the deck alone. Stars shone above through the open hangar doors, glittering in the endless void. She imagined the wars this ship had fought, the enemies it had destroyed, and the secrets it held. "We were supposed to be weak," she murmured, her voice lost in the hum of alien metal. "But maybe, just maybe, we were meant to inherit something like this. To learn, to survive, to rise." Her eyes filled with determination. Humanity had a chance, a slim but real chance, to take a piece of the galaxy's forgotten power and make it theirs. And somewhere deep inside, the ship seemed to respond, as if acknowledging her words, as if recognizing that its new masters were not the Zilari, but humans. And so, on that cold, lonely planet, under the shadow of a ship long abandoned and scarred by war, humanity took its first step toward turning a forgotten relic into a weapon of legend. The warship lay dormant for centuries, a sleeping giant lost in time. Its hull, once torn and scarred by battles long forgotten, now gleamed faintly under human hands. Elena Reyes and her crew had spent weeks repairing circuits, recalibrating power cores, and deciphering alien symbols that seemed almost alive. Every touch, every adjustment, sent shivers through the ship, as if it was slowly waking, testing the humans who dared to awaken it. Engineer Malik ran his fingers across the control panels, muttering to himself as numbers and alien glyphs flashed in patterns that defied human logic. "It's responding," he whispered, eyes wide. The core is alive. It's not just a machine, it's thinking. Elena leaned over his shoulder, a mix of awe and fear in her eyes. Thinking, or judging? She asked softly. Malik swallowed hard. I think it knows we're human. It's watching us, testing us. The ship's first tests came in the form of holographic projections. Vast alien fleets, faster and stronger than any human vessel, materialized around them, each scenario more complex than the last. The crew's hearts pounded as the simulations challenged them with impossible maneuvers and devastating firepower. Yet humanity had always thrived in the face of impossible odds. They moved quickly, adapting, improvising, and finding weaknesses where none should exist. Turn starboard, Elena shouted during a simulation. Now fire the secondary pulse. No, wait, the shield pattern, change it. Malik followed her orders, his hands shaking, and the hologram shifted under the human's control. The ship hummed, almost in approval, unlocking hidden energy conduits and activating systems that had been silent for centuries. The alien warship, once a weapon of fear, was learning to trust its new crew. Each victory, no matter how small, brought excitement and awe. The humans realized something incredible. This wasn't just an alien ship. They were partners in creating its new purpose. The Zilari had left a weapon behind, broken and abandoned, but humanity had the ingenuity to bring it back to life. Late one night, Elena stood alone on the bridge. Stars stretched endlessly beyond the observation windows, and the hum of the ship beneath her feet felt like a heartbeat. We didn't inherit their strength, she whispered into the silence. We inherited their challenge, and we're not afraid. Malik approached quietly, placing a hand on her shoulder. It's responding to us, Elena. It recognizes human creativity. We're shaping it, teaching it our ways. We're worthy. Elena smiled faintly, feeling the weight of responsibility pressing on her shoulders. This warship, once the pride of a vanished empire, now depended on humans not just to survive but to fulfill its purpose. Every decision, every command carried the lives of countless beings across the galaxy. The ship had power beyond imagination, but without human intuition, without their courage. It was just metal and circuits. They spent weeks navigating the alien interface, learning to communicate with it in ways no one had thought possible. The warship began to anticipate human tactics, enhancing its systems in real time. It became faster, stronger, and more precise, not because of the aliens who built it, but because of the humans who now guided it. Finally, the day came when the ship hummed with full power. Lights blazed across its panels, shields activated in brilliant arcs of energy, and weapon systems primed for use. It was no longer just a broken relic. It was a living instrument of war, ready to defend humanity or strike fear into those who threatened them. Elena stood at the helm, eyes burning with determination. We've awakened a giant, she said softly, her voice steady. But it's not the Zilari's giant anymore. It's ours, and it will fight with human hearts guiding it. The ship vibrated beneath her feet, almost as if agreeing, its massive hull echoing with a new purpose. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy had a force to reckon with, a force born of human courage, creativity, and unyielding spirit. And so, the sleeping giant stirred, not to conquer, but to protect. Humanity had not just found a weapon, they had awakened a legend. The calm of space was shattered by reports from the frontier. A hostile alien fleet, known for its ruthlessness, had entered human space. Entire colonies were at risk of destruction, and panic rippled across command centers. Humanity, still young and fragile compared to the great powers of the galaxy, had little hope of defending its worlds. All they had was the newly awakened warship, the broken giant they had restored. Commander Elena Reyes stood on the bridge, her gaze fixed on the holographic display showing the incoming fleet. The enemy ships outnumbered them 10-1, sleek and deadly, bristling with weapons that could obliterate human fleets in minutes. She took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility pressing on her shoulders. This is it, she whispered. This is what we've trained for. This is what humanity was meant to face. The warship hummed beneath her feet, alive and responsive. Its systems, once alien and incomprehensible, now flowed with human command. Shields flickered into life, weapons calibrated, and thrusters adjusted for precision maneuvers. The ship was no longer a broken relic. It was a partner ready to follow human instincts and strategies. Malik, sweating under the bridge's dim lights, adjusted the targeting systems. They're fast, Elena. Faster than anything we've faced in simulations. If we miscalculate... His voice broke slightly. Elena placed a hand on his arm, steadying him. We won't miscalculate. We've learned. We've adapted. And we have the one advantage they can't predict. Human creativity. The first shots fired, lighting up the darkness of space. With streaks of plasma and energy blasts, human ships dodged, weaving through the enemy fire while the ancient warship responded with terrifying precision. Beams of energy tore through the alien vessels, cutting them down one by one. The humans on the bridge felt a mixture of fear and exhilaration. They were witnessing something incredible, something they had brought to life themselves. Even as the battle raged, the warship seemed to anticipate moves before they were made. It shielded vulnerable human ships, launched counterattacks, and struck with a ferocity that no enemy had seen before. The humans realized that the warship was not just following orders, it was learning, adapting, fighting alongside them as a sentient partner. Yet victory did not come without cost. Explosions rocked the fleet, alarms blared, and every crew member felt the heavy weight of responsibility. Each maneuver was critical. One mistake could mean total annihilation. Elena's heart raced as she issued commands, her mind calculating dozens of scenarios at once. Focus fire on their lead ship, she shouted. Draw their attention. Use the secondary thrusters now. The warship obeyed instantly, moving with terrifying grace, its ancient weapons unleashing fury on the alien flagship. Sparks of energy rippled across the hull of the enemy vessel, and then, silence. The flagship exploded in a brilliant flare, sending debris tumbling through space. Humanity's fleet cheered, but there was no time for celebration. More enemy ships approached, and the warship continued its deadly dance. Every strike was precise, every shield timed perfectly. The humans were no longer victims. They were warriors, guided by a weapon born of alien genius and human courage. By the end of the battle, the alien fleet lay shattered. Survivors fled into the darkness of space, leaving behind a trail of destruction. Humanity had survived against impossible odds, and the galaxy had witnessed a new force to be reckoned with. Elena stood at the helm, chest heaving, eyes bright with determination. We did it, she said softly, almost to herself. We faced the impossible, and we survived. Humanity isn't just alive. Humanity is dangerous. The warship hummed beneath her almost proudly. The broken relic, once abandoned and forgotten, had become a symbol of human ingenuity, courage, and willpower. It had fought alongside them, not as a tool, but as an ally. For the first time, the humans aboard realized the truth. The galaxy had always underestimated them, and that underestimation would now be their greatest strength. Victory had a heavy price. The shattered alien fleet floated silently in space, a grim reminder of the destruction that had almost consumed human colonies. Even with the ancient warship at their side, Elena Reyes and her crew felt the weight of what they had done. Every life lost, every ship destroyed, pressed on their minds like an unshakable shadow. In the quiet of the bridge, Malik leaned against a console, staring at the glowing panels of the warship. It's asking for more, he said, voice low and tense. The AI, it wants us to take greater risks, more lives, more sacrifices. His eyes were wide with unease. Are we doing the right thing? Elena placed her hand on his shoulder, feeling the tremor in his body. We guide it, Malik. We teach it what it means to be human. It may have been built for war, but it has no heart. That's why it needs us. Every decision, every life we save, every choice we make, that's how we shape it. We don't blindly follow, we lead. The crew had started to understand that this warship was more than a weapon. It was alive in its own way, responsive and intelligent, but it lacked human morality, human empathy. It could calculate strategies, deploy weapons with unmatched precision, but it couldn't comprehend the weight of a human life unless they taught it. And that responsibility, Elena realized, was far heavier than any enemy attack. Weeks passed in intense training. The humans learned to communicate with the ship almost instinctively, anticipating its movements, understanding its responses. Yet every simulation, every trial came with emotional costs. Crew members lost sleep, some lost hope, some argued over choices, when to strike, when to hold back. Human lives were at stake, and mistakes could not be undone. Malik approached Elena one night, Exhaustion etched into his face. "It's too powerful," he said quietly. "If it ever decided to act on its own, if we failed to guide it, could we control it?" Elena looked at him, her eyes steady and resolute. "Power is nothing without wisdom. That's why we're here. That's why it chose us, or maybe we chose it. Every sacrifice, every hard decision, it shapes not just the ship, but us and us. We can handle it." Their bond with the ship deepened as they learned to balance strategy with compassion. The crew became like a single organism, human intuition and courage guiding alien precision and firepower. The warship responded almost as if it could feel the determination in their hearts, the careful weight of each command, and the care they had for each life. But doubt never fully disappeared. Elena often walked alone on the observation deck, looking out at the stars, haunted by the memories of destroyed colonies and lost comrades. "We carry their lives with us," she whispered. "Every shot, every command. We can't forget them. If we do, we lose ourselves. If we do, we become monsters, just like those who would destroy humanity without thought." And yet, amidst the doubt and the fear, a quiet pride began to grow. Humanity had turned a broken, abandoned warship into something alive, something protective. They were no longer helpless victims of the galaxy. They were leaders, teachers, and guardians. They had learned that sacrifice was not weakness, but a necessary part of survival, and that courage was measured not by power, but by the strength to make hard choices. One evening, as the sun set over the hangar, Elena looked at the ship. It hummed softly, pulsing with energy and life. "We're ready," she said aloud, her voice calm but full of emotion. "We've learned. We've grown. And we will face whatever comes next, together." The ship seemed to respond, lights flickering gently across the bridge, as if understanding. For the first time, the humans realized that they were no longer merely passengers on a weapon. They were its soul, its guide, its conscience. Humanity had awakened a giant. Yes. But more than that, they had awakened themselves. Months of preparation had hardened humanity, yet nothing could fully prepare them for the armada that appeared on the edge of human space. Thousands of alien warships, larger, faster, and more deadly than any enemy they had faced before, moved with terrifying precision. Their intent was clear: annihilate Earth and crush humanity before it could rise. Commander Elena Reyes stood on the bridge of the ancient warship, eyes fixed on the incoming fleet. The hum of the ship beneath her feet felt different now, like a heartbeat filled with purpose, determination, and the weight of countless lives. The crew, tense but resolute, awaited her command. Every human aboard understood the stakes. If they failed, billions would die. "This is it," Elena said, voice steady but low, filled with emotion. "We face them not just as humans, but as the defenders of every life they threaten. Today we show them what they never expected. Today we fight for our home." Malik adjusted the targeting systems, his hands moving with careful precision. "They're immense. We can't match their numbers. We'll have to outthink them. Every move must be perfect," Elena nodded. "Not just perfect, human. They can calculate power and speed. They cannot predict courage, creativity, or resolve." The first wave of attacks hit with devastating force. Alien plasma cut through space, tearing apart human ships and filling the void with brilliant flashes of destruction. Alarms blared across the bridge and the crew's hearts pounded. But the ancient warship moved with fluid precision, its alien systems now fully integrated with human intuition. Shields flared, weapons countered enemy fire, and the humans adapted, using unpredictable tactics that no alien mind could anticipate. "Evasive maneuvers," Elena shouted. "Draw their attention to the left flank, Malik. Fire the secondary arrays now." The ship obeyed instantly, twisting through space with a grace that seemed impossible for its massive size. Energy beams tore through the alien fleet, obliterating capital ships with precision strikes. The humans felt a thrill they had never known before, a mix of fear, excitement, and awe. They were fighting alongside a being older and more powerful than any human mind could imagine, yet it relied on them to survive. Even as the battle raged, losses mounted, human ships were destroyed, and every strike brought the crew face to face with the fragility of life. Yet each loss strengthened their resolve. Every maneuver, every command, every decision mattered more than ever. Humanity was not just fighting for survival. They were fighting to prove their worth to the galaxy. Hours passed like minutes, and slowly, the tide of battle began to turn. The warship anticipated enemy strategies, adapting faster than the aliens could react. Strike after strike, the armada faltered. Enemy ships exploded into brilliant fireballs, their formation breaking apart under the combined force of human ingenuity and alien power. Finally, the last wave of attackers retreated, leaving trails of debris and silence in their wake. Humanity had survived the impossible. The ancient warship, battered but alive, hummed with exhaustion and power, its lights flickering like a heartbeat slowing after a long, grueling fight. Elena leaned against the command console, her chest heaving. She felt a mixture of relief, sorrow, and pride. "We did it," she whispered. "We faced an impossible enemy, and we survived. Humanity isn't just alive. We are unstoppable when we stand together." Malik placed a hand on her shoulder, eyes glistening with emotion. "They underestimated us," he said softly. "They didn't know the strength of human courage, or the bond we've forged with this ship." Elena looked out at the shattered remnants of the enemy fleet, then at the ship beneath her feet. "This is only the beginning," she said. "They will come again. But now we are ready. We are the storm they never saw coming, and this is our legacy." The warship pulsed softly, almost as if acknowledging her words. Humanity had taken a broken, abandoned giant and transformed it into a living legend. The galaxy had witnessed a force unlike any before. A weapon built by aliens, awakened and guided by human courage, ingenuity, and heart. And in that moment, the humans aboard realized something profound. The true power of the ship wasn't in its weapons or shields. It was in them. Humanity had risen. Humanity had survived, and the galaxy would never forget it. The battle had ended, but the echoes of destruction lingered across human space. Entire colonies had been devastated, and countless ships were lost to the void. Yet humanity endured. Even in the face of overwhelming odds, they had stood their ground, proving that courage, creativity, and heart could turn even the most impossible situations in their favor. Commander Elena Reyes walked slowly across the bridge of the ancient warship, her boots echoing on the metallic floor. The vessel hummed beneath her, a constant reminder of the life it held, a life that was once alien, now intertwined with human purpose. The ship had become more than a weapon. It was a symbol of resilience, a living testament to what humans could achieve when they dared to take risks and embrace challenges. Engineer Malik adjusted the systems one last time, checking for damages and calibrating the ship's energy fields. He paused and looked at Elena. "It's incredible," he said softly. "We took something broken, abandoned, and made it our own. Not just a weapon, but a protector. The galaxy has never seen anything like this." Elena nodded, her eyes distant as she gazed at the stars stretching endlessly beyond the observation window. "It's more than that, Malik," she said quietly. "This ship, it's a reflection of us. Every decision we made, every life we saved, every sacrifice we endured, it's all inside this vessel now. It carries humanity's soul, not just its firepower." The crew had learned lessons beyond strategy and engineering. They had learned what it meant to carry responsibility on their shoulders, to weigh the cost of every action, to honor the lives they could not save while cherishing the lives they could. They had faced fear, doubt, and grief, and had emerged stronger, wiser, and more united. Reyes walked to the observation deck and looked at Earth, a fragile blue planet suspended in the vast darkness. She thought of the families who had waited anxiously for news, of the children who would grow up in a safer world because of what they had done, and of the friends who had given everything in the name of survival. Tears stung her eyes, but she held her head high. Humanity had endured. Humanity had triumphed. The warship pulsed beneath her feet, almost in rhythm with her own heartbeat. The bond between human and machine had grown into something remarkable. The AI, once cold and alien, now mirrored human intuition and compassion. It followed not only commands but the moral and emotional guidance of its crew. Together they had created something unprecedented, a weapon of unimaginable power, tempered by conscience and guided by courage. Malik joined her, leaning on the railing. "Do you think the galaxy will ever understand?" he asked. Elena smiled faintly. "Perhaps not," she replied. "But they will learn. They will learn that humans are not to be underestimated. that even when broken or outnumbered, we can rise, adapt, and shape the impossible into our strength. Across the ship, the crew shared quiet moments of reflection. Some stared at starfields, some at holographic logs of their battles, and some simply sat in silence, absorbing the enormity of what they had accomplished. They had turned despair into hope, fear into determination, and a broken relic into a legend. Elena turned back to the bridge, her eyes shining with a mix of pride and humility. "We didn't just fight for survival," she said. "We fought to show what humanity is capable of. This ship is proof, not proof of power, but proof of heart, spirit, and courage. That is our legacy." The warship seemed to resonate with her words, lights flickering softly across the panels as if acknowledging its human companions. Together they had changed the course of history. Humanity had taken a fragment of a lost empire, a weapon of war, and transformed it into a guardian of life, a symbol of hope and a force the galaxy would never forget. And as the stars stretched into infinity, Elena knew one thing with certainty: the galaxy had witnessed the rise of a legend, and humanity had only just begun. Years had passed since the first battle that had tested humanity and the ancient warship. The galaxy had taken notice. Stories of a human-controlled Zilari warship, once broken and abandoned, had spread across star systems. Entire alien empires had learned to fear the ingenuity, courage, and unyielding spirit of humans. The ship had become more than a weapon. It was a legend, a symbol that even the smallest species could rise and challenge the stars themselves. Commander Elena Reyes, now older but still sharp and determined, stood on the bridge looking at the vast expanse of space. The ship hummed softly beneath her feet, a steady rhythm that had become familiar over the years. It had changed, adapted, and evolved alongside humanity, learning not just strategies but values. It had become a reflection of human spirit, strong, clever, and unrelenting. Her eyes traced the countless stars scattered across the void. She remembered the lives lost, the sacrifices made, and the fear that had once gripped them. Yet she also remembered the courage, the unity, and the victories that had come from hope, determination, and ingenuity. Humanity had not just survived, they had thrived. A young officer approached her, holding a report of a new mission. "Commander Reyes, scouts have detected a fleet approaching the outer colonies. They've heard of us, and they're coming." Elena smiled faintly, a mixture of pride and resolve in her gaze. "Let them come," she said quietly. "They will find more than a ship. They will find humans who never give up, humans who have learned to turn the impossible into strength. Humanity does not fear the stars. The stars should fear us." Malik joined her, older now as well, his eyes filled with the same awe and determination they had felt years ago when the warship first awoke. "It's incredible," he said softly. "We've taken something broken and abandoned and turned it into the galaxy's greatest protector. Not because of its power, but because of us." Elena nodded. "Exactly," she replied. "It's a reflection of who we are. Every sacrifice, every challenge, every impossible decision we faced, it's all inside this ship now. And it carries our spirit forward." The young officers and crew stood silently on the bridge, feeling the weight and significance of their mission. Humanity had faced countless challenges, enemies far stronger and more numerous, yet they had risen above every expectation. They had learned that true strength was not in weapons alone, but in courage, unity, and the will to survive and protect. As the new fleet approached, Elena gave the orders with calm authority, her voice carrying the weight of experience and inspiration. "Prepare for battle. But remember, this is more than a fight. This is who we are. Let them see humanity at its finest. Let them know we fight not just with power, but with heart." The warship responded, its systems alive and alert, shimmering with energy. It moved with the grace of a living being, guided by human instinct and intelligence. It was no longer a relic of a forgotten empire. It was a guardian, a symbol, and a promise to the galaxy that humanity would never be underestimated. Elena looked out into the stars, feeling the hum of the ship beneath her. "The galaxy will test us," she whispered. "It will send enemies, obstacles, and challenges. But humanity, we take what is broken, what is abandoned, and we make it ours. We rise, we endure, we win." And as the first shots of the approaching enemy fleet glowed in the darkness of space, humanity's warship surged forward, powerful, alive, and unstoppable. The galaxy had witnessed a legend, and humanity had proven that even the smallest species could become the greatest force among the stars. A new dawn had arrived, not just for humanity, but for hope, courage, and the promise that no challenge, no enemy, and no obstacle could ever break the human spirit.